Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Aries. If Aries is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Let's see what these tea leaves have to say. Okay. And so, our card for this reading is the Four of Discs, or coins, or pinnacles, or panicles, whatever you like to call it. And this is kind of a card that is all about power. Finding stability, fortification. I always think of kind of going into your own little fort, kind of raising the drawbridge from the rest of the world a little bit, getting in a place where you're focused on kind of getting yourself together, getting your things together. Now we have this, it looks like a little kid drew this car. We have this little car that's just kind of cruising away. It looks like a truck, kind of. And I'll have to tell you, one of my dream cars is either, the El Rancho or a Camino. And if you know what these are from like the 70s, I used to see them all the time in Cali where I grew up. And I was so in love with them. You never see them where I'm at now. They probably rust out in one winter. But this kind of reminds me of one of those. So anyways, kind of cruising around, right? Or around, cruising forward. Forward movement. Okay. I think that you are really... you've been kind of planning how are you going to be spending the next, 6 months, a year, 5 years. This has been something that's really been on your mind, and you've been making goals, maybe financial plans. And with this being a discs card, I think that you have probably put some kind of plan about your resources into play. You've really kind of decided maybe, I'm going to work a little extra, maybe put a little extra away. There is, a mindfulness about where you are going. I see here we have, it looks like a bunch of fish kind of, and I like to think of them kind of moving in the stream together. And, this is abundance. This is solidarity. There is a lot of stability. All aspects of self aligned, headed in the same direction. You have kind of some of your impulses, maybe, desires are a little bit tempered. Just kind of keeping your own company or staying close to the fam, just really focused on, catching those fish for yourself, getting them put away, and preserving and all that. I feel like building up your little kingdom, building up your little fortress, your little abode. We have a person here who looks like they're kind of going into this, almost like a cave, and I like to think of these domed ones especially as our private little temples, our home, our safe space. And I see you kind of getting in there, right? And especially if you're in the northern hemisphere, we're going into these cooler months. There is kind of that impulse to stay in the home a little bit more, at least for me. That real homebody comes out in me. I want to be nice and cozy, you know, doing the chores around the house and being with my family and, you know, just kind of living in our own little world. And I think that this is kind of where you're at as well. On the top, we have some kind of beautiful bird. It looks like it's sitting upon a nest. Okay, so I really do think we're going to keep going with the same metaphor here, you know, kind of building that little nest egg, building something put to the side so, you know, when you need it, or if you are planning for some kind of larger goal, there are resources there for you. And, you know, I really think, you know, we shift into these certain configurations throughout our life where there is that sense of nesting. I remember when I was pregnant and people kept talking about, oh, you're gonna start nesting soon. I was like, what does that even mean? And then when it hit, I knew exactly what they meant. You know, just getting things orderly, you like comfortable, ready, because your life's about to change and it's just an instinctual thing. Well, it doesn't always have to mean that you're having a baby. You know, life could just be the pace is changing, your priorities have shifted, and I think, you know, this is just a time that is more oriented towards you being with yourself and you being with your loved ones. Okay? And so I think that, you know, there's a lot of love in that. A lot of ease in that, and the ability to hopefully save a little bit of money too, or resources, whatever it is that you are thinking about saving. Now we have a 2 right here, and then we have a 4 right here. So the 2 and the 4 seem important for this reading. I'm not sure what those have to do with, but I bet you know. And so if you want to share that or not, up to you. But those 2 numbers are important, so remember those. We also have a nice boat, and it's kind of a silly looking one because it looks like it's a person's head here and their feet kind of out the bottom. It almost reminds me of like a Halloween costume, which isn't too far off. So, but I do think this is that kind of movement out of whatever has been going on, right? You have made a decision to kind of change how you're living. And it seems like that is kind of going inward a bit, staying close to the home base, right? Kind of seeking out the people who you love and care for, and they love and care for you. And just kind of living a little bit more of a quieter life, right? Maybe you're becoming a minimalist. I don't know. But I think just ultimately not getting involved in any of the big dramas, you know, being more discerning about who you let into your sacred space. If that is, you know, your private life in general, if that is your home, which is your temple. You know, I think it's really important, not only for safety issues, but I think it's really important who we let close to us, who we let into the places that we live, especially into our bedrooms. And I don't just mean, you know, for whatever, but I do mean where we dream, where we cry, where our hopes, dreams move freely. Having somebody come into that space changes the dynamic just a little bit, right? So we must be really thoughtful about who we let into our sacred spaces. And I think that you really, you know that in intuition, with your intuition, and you know, it comes naturally to you. I also think that you kind of often are a person that kind of just likes to do their own thing. I think that you probably have some good friends, right? But you do a lot of things by yourself. That's not upsetting to you. I think that there's a lot of freedom in moving that way. Okay. Okay, and then we have a person here who looks like they're holding a stick. And we have a fish up here. So I think it kind of, I mean, they remind me of like somebody with a hat, like going out to fish, have their little hat on. So I think that, you know, this is, you know, in the metaphysical and emotional zone. So I think really this is so much about, you know, not only thinking about the material world, saving the money, having resources, being around people more intentionally, with more intention, I should say. But also, I think in your spiritual and emotional life, you are really, there's healing going on, but I think that you are also looking for inspiration. I feel like maybe you are kind of studying religions or philosophies, kind of really looking for things that make sense to you, that seem like, oh, I've kind of had that experience, that makes sense, I kind of feel that way, I've had that thought before, you know, and kind of going out there and like looking for things that speak to you, and you know, kind of on that little bit of a solo journey. And I think that that's a beautiful, really beautiful thing. And it seems quite potent because it's such a clear symbol there. Okay, not a lot going on over here. We have two kind of really, we have the symmetry there, right next to each other, kind of a line across. And I think, you know, it makes sense as you're finding balance in all aspects of your life. I feel like there's a lot of confidence that's coming from that, and just feeling the ease of not a lot of stuff going on. There aren't terrible things happening constantly. There aren't you know, big dramas and falling out and this kind of thing that, you know, some people live like that all the time, arguing and lamenting and toil and all this stuff, and just kind of detaching from that, living a smaller, quiet life. There's a lot of beauty in that kind of lifestyle for sure. Okay, so we have the Divine Doors cards, and I'm just going to go ahead, and I really love these ones. They're beautiful. I have an affinity for doors, sacred doors, the, you know, kind of metaphor of sacred doors, doorways, portals, portas. So when I found this deck, I was like, okay, that's for me. So I'm just gonna kind of stop where it feels right. And it says, the Odyssey, take in the beauty of country lands and botany, explore the wonder like a gypsy. Oh, I forgot. I just did this one the other day. I don't think we say gypsy anymore. Like a traveler's odyssey. Okay. And so, yeah, you know, I think, well, you know me, I'm always talking about how important it is to be out, getting fresh air, doing some intentional movement to your level of ability, but just experiencing the microcosms around you, seeing what the animals are doing, seeing what the bugs are doing, the plants, how they change, noticing all of these things from the bottom to the top. When we feel overwhelmed by our lives, when we feel like everything is chaotic and there's no meaning, or, you know, the world is against us, we need to go out and look at what's happening outside, right? In our backyards. You know, there's so many universes taking place that have they have nothing to do with us, really. I mean, we live among them, right? But they have no concept of what we're doing. Our problems don't even matter to them. So, you know, I think it's important to go out there and see that we are part of a greater universe. Be among that beauty. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say thank you, thank you, thank you. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. If you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps us get into the algorithm, and the algorithm decides everything about everything. We like to give it the engagement that it wants, and those are things like liking the video, watching the readings from the beginning to the end, sharing the readings on other social media platforms. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. And if you want to leave a comment, please do. I love reading them. I love you know, communing with you all, getting to know you. You all are very sweet, and I really, the community that has emerged through this channel is very dear to me. So if you want to be a part of that, go ahead and leave a comment. Okay, so thank you, thank you, thank you, and we will talk very soon.